So let's take a look here. Okay, the Chapter 7 files that we need. When we go through the long list here, we need jaredatom.html. We need jaredatomlogo.png. We need waterfall.html. We need waterfall 1 JPEG, waterfall 2 JPEG, waterfall 3 JPEG, and waterfall big JPEG. I'm going to double check, but I think that's all we need. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. So once more with feeling. jaredatom.html, jaredatom small logo PNG, excuse me, thank you, waterfall.html, waterfall 1 JPEG, waterfall 2 JPEG, waterfall 3 JPEG, and waterfall big JPEG. Okay. Okay, so once you get those downloaded, then you need to go ahead and copy those into your network or your W drive. Probably in a folder, you can call it Chapter 7 or Jared Adams, however you want to organize. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and open up the jaredadam.html file. That's the one we're going to start with. Okay, chapter 7 is all about expanding your knowledge and what you can do with a style sheet. Okay, up to this point we've really just worked with some very basic style sheets. Today we're going to get into some more advanced features that you can do within your style sheet. Okay, next semester in web design, the program that we're going to be using is going to force you to do all of your styling, for the most part, except bold and italics, in a style sheet. Okay, so this is just kind of good practice of kind of wrapping your mind around all of the things that you can accomplish within a style sheet. So if you look at page 325, here's some things that we're going to learn how to do within our style sheet. Now, we've already figured out how to take a bulleted list and transfer that into a navigation bar, right? We've done that in the last chapter. We're going to take that a step further in our advanced style sheet. And as you can see in the figure at the bottom of page 325, where it shows the actual Jared Adams Adventure Travel homepage, not only are we going to have a navigation bar at the top, but the navigation bar is also going to have a pull-down list with like sub-navigation under it. We're going to accomplish that task within the advanced style sheet that we're going to create. Okay, so we're going to take that a step further from knowing how to transfer a bulleted list into a navigation bar into making it a little more interactive navigation bar. Okay, a couple other items that we're going to be working on is we're going to be able to take a picture on a page that's a thumbnail picture and click on the picture and it take us to a large version of that picture. We're also going to get into how to create a text box, basically. That's what I like to call it. That's what you see there on page 325. So we have a text box that is beside of an image. So we're going to learn how within our style sheet we can make all of this happen. Now, if you notice in TextPad in our HTML file that we just opened up, they have a lot of the coding already typed in for us. That's mainly because we want to spend most of our time kind of delving back into classes. So if you still don't understand the concept of classes and how to use those within your code, hopefully after we do this, that concept will finally gel in your minds. We're also going to get into kind of layout and placement of your website as well, because this kind of takes some skill to get the text box and the image beside each other. Okay, so let's kind of dig in here and get started. So let's see where we can jump to. Let's just go ahead and jump to page 340. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to create our style sheet. So you guys can go ahead and start mindlessly typing the style sheet, and then I will explain it to you. That way, hopefully, after you've typed it, you kind of already have an idea of what they're doing, possibly, and then I can go over it in more detail just to clarify what each kind of line here is doing. Okay, so let's first of all just get the style sheet created. and then we'll talk about what's happening and what's going on. This is a lot of typing, so you guys might want to just, look up, make sure you're not making any typos. So you guys know we're creating an external style sheet, so that's a whole new file, right? Because I see some of you creating an embedded style sheet. Are we doing this as embedded or external?
This one says embedded.
Is this one embedded?
Yeah, 346 embedded.
Okay.
I was going to be upset.
Well, all you have to do is copy and paste it. It's not that big of a deal.
That is a lot of work in this spot.
Well, you could work faster if you talked less. No, you don't. Not even close. I sit here and watch you guys and have to listen to your stupid conversations. You're never motivated. That's why so many of you are behind.
What?
That's why I'm going to move you guys. I can still move you.
That was against what you said, though. Yeah, and I might not even do it.
Well, that's your own. If you want an F, go ahead.
all funny and more. That would be so funny. Still pretty funny.
Basically, there's demands to play certain.
It's like a fun thing. When she wakes up, you guys go, "Can I please have another chance?" No, we start thinking when we're running over this. No, this time I think they're
How nice of you.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Twice. Why is it
Okay, so when you get finished, it is a good idea to just go back through and look, because this is a lot of typing. There's a lot of similarities between some of these classes as well, like menu UL, menu ULLI. Sometimes your eyes can play tricks on you and you jump, down too far a line or up a line. So it's a good idea just to go back through, make sure for each attribute that you have the correct code in for that. It's good just to check for typos too. That way if something's not working, you know it's not a misspelled word or a typo.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? I think I just heard you. What? Yeah. Okay, so we're not supposed to use an external style sheet.
Not yet. We're going to do that here in a minute.
So we have an external and an embedded?
We will have, yeah, by the time we're done, we'll have an external and embedded.
So I should just copy and paste this and put it where it says embedded?
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry.
It's not okay.
Hello? Yes. No. I need to put. Oh, yeah.
Wait a second. Actually, how small their screen is.
Brian.
Oh, yeah. One's in the column. Oh, they can't do it. Wow. Okay. Bye. All right, so let's kind of break this down and take a look at what we're doing. I don't think I need to go into detail at this point about what the body and the A is doing, right? I think everybody knows what we're doing up to that point.
What are you done?
I've been done for like 5 minutes.
I've been typing forever. I think I'm spelled
It's because I'm
Hey,
good at typing.
she's the teacher, she's supposed to be
Gary,
like
done
that.
typing.
Yeah.
She proud of me?
He wants a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
I don't want
Fresh
Jolly
out.
Rancher.
Okay, so let's break down this next section and what we are doing here. So we've already talked about, we've got a bulleted list, and if we scroll down our page, we can see this little section. So we've already made a div tag, and we're naming our menu bar section menu bar. Okay, we're not going too crazy here with the names. So when we look up here, mine's on line 17, where I'm referring to my div tag. That's why the number sign is in front of menu bar. Okay, I want to add the background color as given, the text color white, and it's establishing the height of the menu bar. Okay. Now, I'm just telling you guys this right now. On your final exam, you're going to have to know how to create one of these on your own. Okay, so that establishes the background color of the menu bar, the text color, and the height in pixels of the menu bar. Okay? Now, we're getting into the classes. Okay, and we should know that we're getting into the classes because it has a period in front of it. Okay, that should be our indicator that we're talking about classes. So, we have a menu class. Let me see if I can get this view a little better here. There we go. Get the word wrap going a little better. Okay, within, let's just take a look at the structure of the menu bar here for a minute. Okay, within the menu bar, so I've got one div tag encompassing it all called menu bar. Then within that, I have div tags that are specific to each menu. If you guys look back, we don't have to go as far as page 332. We've got one that is water expeditions. We have one that's exotic destinations, and then cycling tours. So we have broken that down into menu 1, menu 2, and menu 3. Okay, for those 3 particular sections of the menu bar. Okay, and so then we've given them div IDs like menu 1, menu 2, and menu 3. Now, notice in all 3 of those, we are referring to the class. We're telling it to go look at the class called menu. Okay, and that's what we have back up here in our embedded style sheet. Okay, so we're telling it to float left. You can see on page 332 that is not centered on the page. Okay, it is actually coming off the left margin. Now, we've established padding, and we've done so in a little different format. We're used to using pixels, on very rare occasions, points. Sometimes we use percentages. Okay, but EM is also a way that we can measure within a web page as well, and it's not used very frequently. I'm always surprised at whenever I see EM listed. I think in this particular example they just did it so that you could see other methods of different sizes that can be used within a web page. So this is breaking that down, and you can see the 4 numeric values that we have for the padding. And then the cursor, we're going to tell the cursor to be default for this one. So we just want an arrow. We're not going to put in some sort of picture for our cursor. So these are all attributes that are going to go on both, or on all 3, the water expeditions, the exotic destinations, and the cycling tours. All right, now this next part gets into everything that is in the UL. Okay, so notice we begin our list, and this is the part that we have done in the previous chapter here that I've highlighted. Okay, where we have set up a bulleted list, and then within our style sheet, we've told it list style type, and we've told it none. Okay, so that it's not a bulleted list, we can convert it into a navigation bar. Okay, and then once we've done that for each little submenu, so we've created a submenu called Waterfall Exploring and Whale Watching for the first one, Exotic 1 and Exotic 2 for exotic destinations, and then our third submenu under Cycling Tours is Cycling 1 and Cycling 2. Okay, so this is something that's totally different and new, is setting up those submenus. Yes, Dakota? I just scrolled through here to show you where I was setting up these submenus. I highlighted this right here just to show it. That's all I did. So you guys could see what I was talking about. Okay, we move on. Okay. So for that, obviously we're telling it to display none. Position is absolute. Okay, because we've already told the menu to float left, and we want our absolute position because we want it, okay, to go with the positioning of the main menu. Okay, so since now we're getting into the submenu part, okay, and creating that, we're telling it we want it to be in direct contact basically with the menu, okay, so that it comes right off of that. Notice for the submenu, we're going to change it so the background color is white. Obviously, we've used list style none before, okay, because that gets rid of it being a bulleted list. Okay, we've added a margin around this, and we've added padding. Now, kind of a little heed warning. And sometimes browsers work differently with this. Sometimes when you guys do this, it's going to be off when you preview it in the browser. Okay, it's okay to have to go in and maybe change the margin or the padding of your navigation bar to get it to look how you want. Okay, sometimes I think students get too involved in, oh, well, that's the exact number that it gave me, so I have to leave it at that number. Okay, especially in this chapter, I don't know how many times I'm always having to come around and say, just play with the numbers until it looks the way that you want it to look. So just because they've given us these exact numbers doesn't mean that when you preview it in the browser that it could very well be off, okay, where you can go in and manipulate those numbers yourself, and that's fine to do, okay, because whatever browser you're using, previewing it in is, you know, how you want it to look. Okay. Then we have our menu class ULLI. Okay, this is specifically setting up that sub menu. We want it to be displayed in block format, and you can see that there on page 332. Okay, it gives it to us in a block. The font size is small. You can tell just by looking at the picture it's a little smaller than Water Expeditions. And then we've added a little padding. If we don't add a little bit of padding, sometimes our text will be too close to like the Water Expeditions. So again, especially this padding number here that I've got highlighted, that might be one of those values that you have to go in and make small minor adjustments to yourself. Okay. Now, this next part that I'm highlighting. Okay, this is going to help set up the capability to hover over Water Expeditions and us get the submenu. Okay, that's what we're establishing there. Mine's on lines 26 and 27. Okay, that is setting up so that when we hover our mouse over Water Expeditions or exotic destinations or cycling tours, we get our submenu to appear. Okay, and then line 29 is setting up the background color, okay, for the hover, because we obviously want that to change. Okay, when we're hovering over those submenu items, it's going to be like a light gray, and you can see that there on page 332. They've got their cursor hovered over Waterfall Exploring, and it's in a light gray. Now, the last component of creating that menu bar, if you guys look down here in the actual code itself, we've got a span class white pipe. Okay, that's going to create that vertical white line that separates each of the items in our menu bar. So, up here in our embedded style sheet, we've told it what color we want that to be when we type it in. We want it to be white. Okay, so basically from line 17 to 31, okay, all this that I'm highlighting right now is what creates or helps create all of the formatting for the navigation bar and getting it set up correctly. Yes, it is. Okay? So all of that's just setting up so that you have a navigation bar that has a pull-down list, and then everything is formatted there as you see on page 332. So any questions on just the menu bar? What, Duffy?
Question about the stop sheet. Because we just did the whole thing and it's still not working. Yeah.
Mine's not working either.
And I tried on Firefox too.
Right. We're not done.
But it just has the one box.
So then it's something, yeah. You gotta go find it. So if it's the box, then it's gotta be that image.posit. There's gotta be something wrong in that line, because that's just the box. Okay, we're not there yet, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on that. Any questions on the menu bar? Okay, the last part of the embedded style sheet is setting up that text box that you see there on page 332. So if we come down to that, notice that we've got a class for our paragraph text that's called box. So that's what the PBox line of code there that I've highlighted is setting up. Okay. So that in essence is setting up the text box so that it's in the position that we need it. Okay, we've told it the width needs to be 400 pixels, okay, the width of the text box. We've set up the margin. Again, these are numbers, especially the margin numbers, the 20 pixels and the margin top. These both, again, can be numbers that you have to change once you preview it, okay? Because it might be too far up so that it is kind of infringing up on your menu bar, and you wouldn't want that. Okay, so those would be the numbers that you would have to manipulate to move the box. Notice there's a little bit of a curvature to the corners of the text box, so that's where we've set up the border radius of 5 pixels. Obviously the background color is white, and we also have a text color that's like a grayish. And then we have set up padding, because as you can see here on page 332, the text isn't right on the edge of the box. So we've created padding to give it a little bit of white space on the sides of the boxes. Okay, so that's what's setting up the box. This last part is the image. So if we scroll down in our image, we have a class called POSIT that we're referencing. Okay, so this is positioning the image. Again, the left and top could very well be numbers that you have to manipulate later, okay, to get placement exactly where you want it. So any questions on the embedded style sheet? You're not quite sure what it is that it's doing, what each component. Okay, let's preview it in the browser. Okay, and at this point it should look like page 332. Hmm?
I have one little area.
Okay. So we're gonna stop there for today. Make sure you. Yeah, I will tomorrow. I'll look at everybody who has problems.
You look for probably.
Oh, yeah.